In this week's BizLine, rising demand for human resources for semiconductor and solutions taken to strengthen semiconductor workforce. Welcome to BizLine, a business talk show on VTV International, where we explore the latest trends and developments in Vietnam's economic scene. I'm your host, Hoàng Hằng. Vietnam's semiconductor industry is drawing global attention with its young and tech-savvy workforce, commitment to innovation and strategic partnerships. The country is emerging as a key player in this critical sector. Large international investors and homegrown enterprises are flocking in, creating a huge demand for skilled workers. So how is Vietnam addressing this workforce demand? We'll find out in this week's edition of BizLine. But first, let's see how the sector has grown in Vietnam in the following clip.
The semiconductor industry is strategically important globally, with sales totaling 520 billion USD last year and growing rapidly. Vietnam now has about 50 semiconductor design service companies, mostly foreign-invested companies from the US, South Korea, Japan, China, and the Netherlands, employing 5,000 engineers. Domestically, companies like Viettel, FPT, and VNC Chip are actively engaged in the market. Vietnam's semiconductor industry will likely be valued in excess of 6.1 billion USD this year. Vietnam's Science, Technology, and Innovation Development Strategy for 2030 has identified technologies such as chip manufacturing and semiconductor components as core areas for the coming decades. By 2030, the semiconductor industry is expected to generate 20 to 30 billion USDs in annual revenue.
In order to learn more about the topic, we invited to our studio Mr. Lê Thái Hà, Director of a Semiconductor Chip Design Training Center of Phenica University, and Mr. Vũ Duy Việt, Director and Country R&D Officers of Infineon Technologies Vietnam. Thank you to both of our guests for being here with us. Now, according to forecasts, the global semiconductor market will reach a scale of trillions of US dollars by 2030. Meanwhile, Vietnam's semiconductor market is expected to grow by over 6% during the 2022 to 2027 period. So how does this increase the demand for semiconductor workforce, both in terms of quantity and quality?
We see that in East Asia, Asia Pacific, there's a problem in human resource in Japan, in Taiwan, and in Korea because the baby boomers generations are going to retire soon. And the new young generations in this country, they are not very interested in semiconductor. So in Vietnam, that's going to be a very big opportunities. When the chips manufacture, it's very, very difficult and very costly to modify or to make some change. So that's why the quality for the IC designs for semiconductor engineer is very high. So that's why people, the companies, they always want senior. But the number of seniors, engineers in Vietnam market is quite small. We should and we must build up the senior engineers from the freshers.
So according to McKinsey, each in Europe and the US, each continent would miss about 100,000 engineers. And in Asia, excluding China, we are going to miss like 200,000 engineers. So that is a huge gap. And for sure, Vietnam has a chance to provide those missing workforce. On the quality aspect, I see that with the ever-growing complexity of the semiconductor devices that we are designing and producing, as well as the ever-shortening time to market. So for sure, we will need a huge number of new engineers coming, but also the quality of those engineers, not only in the term of number of years of experience, but also the way they are trained, the way they can approach experience, hands-on knowledge and experience in an early stage, so that they can easier and faster catch up with the demand of the industry.
What employment opportunities does this create for Vietnam's labor market?
Large corporations like Samsung or Hana Micron or Amcor and Nvidia, we know that they are announcing investments or new investment or increasing investment in the Vietnamese market. And in the local market, companies that are already there in working in IC designs like Quovo, like Marvell or Synopsys, they are also announcing aggressive expansion plan within the next years. And Infineon, we start our presence in Vietnam in 2017 with sales and marketing. And just last year in May 2023, we started our pre-silicon R&D activities in Hanoi. And now we have a team of about 30 engineers. In the next 3 years, we plan to double this R&D team size in Vietnam.
In this period of time in semiconductor, we will have very bright future for the semiconductors and electronics because now we're in the right time that the countries are in short of the human resource. If we take the opportunity now and we ramp up, we boost up the trainings and industry, that we will have a lot of advantages in this world stage level competition.
According to World Semiconductor Trade Statistics, the semiconductor industry globally will need more than 1 million additional workers by 2030. Manpower Group stated that Vietnam will require 50,000 semiconductor engineers by 2030 to meet the annual labor demand growth of 10 to 15%. Human resources are the key factor for success in the semiconductor race.
Ngành công nghiệp vi mạch bán dẫn có tính toàn cầu với các đặc thù là sự phức tạp của sản phẩm, đòi hỏi sự đầu tư lớn về sản xuất và yêu cầu cao về trình độ lao động, kích thước, hiệu năng, xử lý quyết định năng lực, cạnh tranh của sản phẩm và ưu thế của các nhà sản xuất.
Semiconductor industry is shifting. So previously there was a lot of focus on hardware. Now it's all towards hardware and software being integrated together in a global supply chain, in a vertical supply chain. The era we're now talking about semiconductors, I call it software-driven semiconductor design.
Vietnam is said to have great opportunities amidst the semiconductor sector's rapid growth and rising labor demand.
You see US, you see Europe. We don't have enough engineers. So it's very important that Vietnam has an opportunity to fill the gap. So the most important thing is to focus and training. I think there's a big opportunity for Vietnam to really, rise in this occasion.
I think that Vietnam has a lot of good talent engineers to be engaged in this particular industry. We took a lot of Vietnamese students before, and they all do very well. So I have no doubt that Vietnam has one of the best talent pool in the world.
According to the Ministry of Information and Communications, the workforce demand for information technology and other digital industries in Vietnam is estimated at 150,000 engineers per year. Currently, Vietnam has approximately 5,000 microchip design engineers, while the semiconductor industry requires 10,000 engineers annually, meeting less than 20% of the demand.
How do you assess Vietnam's ability to meet such huge demand?
Vietnam workforce in IC design, so more specific than semiconductor industry, is very young. They are eager to learn. They learn fast. They are ambitious and highly committed. So this high level of ambition and commitment is highly appreciated in our industry, simply because for us it is more and more critical. The time to market needs to be short. On the challenges side, I see the availability of highly experienced engineers and experts, as well as still the English verbal communication. So the expertise in the level that we need is simply required by Infineon, by companies like Infineon, for the expansion of the team, of the activities. and then to get independent in our own operation, not depending on R&D centers in other countries. And English verbal communication is simply now the minimum requirement because in our industry, the complexity of devices simply requires international collaboration.
I think the biggest challenge is that we should some kind of architects, engineers, the top levels engineers who understand the full flow of IC designs, who understand the customers, who understand the markets, and they open a startup, and they make their own Vietnamese chips, and that's create a long-term prosperity for Vietnamese industry, semiconductor industry. I think that the challenge is still in the how we can ramp up the number of the freshers that can meet the industry requirements. So we cannot expect that there's a lot of technology leaders overnight in 1 or 2 days. We need to be careful and step by step ramp up.
Vietnam aims to train 50,000 to 100,000 semiconductor engineers by 2030. To achieve this goal, the Human Resource Development Program for the semiconductor industry to 2030 with a vision to 2050 has been approved. So with its specific objectives and proposed solutions, how do you evaluate Vietnam's determination and efforts to deepen its participation and enhance competitiveness in the global semiconductor supply chain?
I think Vietnamese government have very serious plan, have serious ambitions in this field, because we both understand how important semiconductor is. In the global level competitions, of course, we have some competitors that are very strong. So that's why we need to be quicker. And our advantage is that we have a good system compared to them. And Vietnamese engineers and students are eager to learn and accept new things quickly. Yes. The only thing that we need to change a little bit in their minds is that they need to be patient with semiconductors, because semiconductor the field is not easy to grasp overnight. 50,000 to 100,000. I think that this very ambitious number, but with this situation and with condition of Vietnam, I think that's practical.
We appreciate the high level of determination and efforts of the Vietnamese government in this topic. As an international corporation, we have been actively contributing to the discussions towards more detailed and more specific actions and plans to implement these objectives. And in parallel, we are already collaborating with partners like Hanoi University of Science and Technology, HUST, as well as Phenica University in Education and Training, as well as providing internships with really hands-on experience in the industry for students.
At this training center, students can access the most modern equipment and facilities with chip simulation accuracy reaching 95%. For example, this server, it can reduce the simulation process from months to hours.
In addition to facilities, domestic institutions have improved their curriculum or opened new semiconductor training courses.
Thành lập cái trung tâm nghiên cứu, thiết kế, đào tạo về công nghệ thông tin, vi mạch và bán dẫn nhằm triển khai cụ thể hóa các cái khóa đào tạo ngắn hạn để triển khai cho các cái đối tượng như là kỹ sư hay là giảng viên hay sinh viên. Nhà trường đã chỉ đạo cho 2 khoa công nghệ thông tin và khoa điện cơ trong việc xây dựng chương trình chuyên ngành thiết kế game, thiết kế vi mạch và bán dẫn để triển khai đào tạo dự kiến từ năm 2025.
As of early April, 100 universities nationwide announcing enrollment information. More than 10 plan to introduce new majors in microcircuit design, semiconductor technology, or equivalent fields.
Đào tạo chuyên sâu hơn, cung cấp nhiều kiến thức sâu hơn, nhiều kinh nghiệm thực tiễn sâu hơn cho học viên để học viên có thể đảm nhận được cái khâu thiết kế front-end trong cái chuỗi các công việc thiết kế chip, để từ đó có thể làm chủ được cái thiết kế chip, đặc biệt là các cái chip phức tạp trong cái thời đại công nghiệp hiện nay.
They have also collaborated with enterprises and localities in order to provide practical training and hands-on experience for students.
Chúng tôi đã kết hợp với khoảng trên 30 doanh nghiệp chiến lược, thành lập các cái hội đồng tư vấn nghề bao gồm thành viên của nhà trường và thành viên doanh nghiệp công nghiệp bán dẫn. Mỗi một doanh nghiệp thì chúng tôi sẽ có một đặc thù và một cái chương trình định hướng mở. Mục đích cuối cùng là sản phẩm đầu ra của chúng tôi là đáp ứng ngay được vị trí việc làm của doanh nghiệp.
Hỗ trợ triển khai những cái chương trình đào tạo và hỗ trợ trong việc cho trường trong việc thành lập các cái trung tâm, các câu lạc bộ về khởi nghiệp đổi mới sáng tạo trong thời gian tới để có thể là thúc đẩy cái hoạt động đào tạo của nhà trường.
Along with students, lecturers are also provided with training to catch up with new semiconductor trends.
Students, we have been working with NIC on a range of activities. We have partnered with NIC to provide the Cadence software solution to more than 20 universities in Vietnam. We have also train the trainers where Cadence provides training to the lecturers and the professors in the universities.
In addition, the Ministry of Planning and Investment's National Innovation Center organizes training courses for 500 to 600 chip and semiconductor engineers each year. It provides scholarships to talented students and engineers.
Currently, a number of universities and training institutions have established facilities and courses dedicated to the semiconductor field. This addresses future workforce development, but how well are the teaching staff equipped to meet the training demands?
Training periods is very, very challenging and difficult. That's why the trainers is very important. The trainers should be someone who not only the knowledgeable in the field, in the basics understanding, but also they have experience, they're skillful in the tools flows. They understand the current trend in the world, they understand the industry.
So looking at the Vietnamese landscape of universities and training institutions, we see lecturers and researchers with international education background as well as industry experience. However, to meet the ambitious targets of the development program we just mentioned, we see that international collaboration with universities, training organizations, as well as industry partners outside of Vietnam as essential. And currently we already see many collaborations like that being in progress, initiated by the Vietnam National Innovation Center, NIC, companies like FPT or Phenica, Synopsys.
How is collaboration between training institutions and enterprises supporting these educational programs?
We have to study the needs and their demands. How many engineers, what skills they need, requirements. Based on that, we design the course curriculums. And we design the labs, we design all the training steps based on their demands. And we organize the classes, and we offer some scholarships. They have engineers that well trained and with a good habit. And during the trainings, we also test the engineers for them.
Due to the lack of the number of experienced lecturers and teaching staffs, the industry partners can provide support in terms of manpower to help in courses, especially in lab sessions. The second aspect is that industry partners provide internships. That means the views of and the hand-on experience in an industry context for the students. And with those ability, with those experience, they will be more ready for the demand of the industry later on.
To improve the semiconductor labor force, Vietnam has stepped up collaboration with other countries to boost training. The Ministry of Planning and Investment recently directed the National Innovation Center, in cooperation with the U.S. Department of State and Arizona State University to train over 4,000 microchip packaging and testing engineers in Vietnam by the end of 2025.
Rồi hợp tác với cả các viện, trường, tổ chức hàng đầu của nhiều nước có ngành công nghiệp bán dẫn này, là trong cái phần đào tạo. Tôi đã đào tạo rất nhiều giáo viên, rất nhiều học sinh của các trường đại học. Đấy, thì NIC ở Hòa Lạc này vì gần như bây giờ là như là một cái nôi để mà đào tạo trong cái phần thiết kế của ngành bán dẫn. Và sắp tới còn rất nhiều các cái chương trình đào tạo sâu rộng sẽ tổ chức tại đây.
Meanwhile, training facilities and localities have also taken action to cooperate with international partners to improve their curriculum and training efforts.
Chúng tôi thiết lập mối quan hệ hợp tác chiến lược với các đối tác ở Mỹ, ở Đài Loan, ở Hàn, gọi là Chip 4. Nó xuất phát từ câu chuyện win-win, không những về phía chính quyền Đà Nẵng và phía những doanh nghiệp và phía những đối tác trong và ngoài nước nữa, để chúng ta cùng nhau hỗ trợ và khắc phục những cái nguồn thiếu hụt về nguồn cung trong lĩnh vực chip vi mạch bán dẫn. Và liên minh VASA này là một trong những bước đi đầu tiên kịp thời, rất quan trọng để đẩy mạnh cái sự đào tạo nguồn nhân lực.
We would like to welcome students from Vietnam to join us, to come here to study graduate degrees so that they can get a deeper understanding about the field in the semiconductor, and then they can work in Taiwan because we have an employment gold card from the government. All graduates, foreign students to graduate from Chongqing University automatically can work in Taiwan for 3 years.
Meanwhile, the International Technology Security and Innovation ITSI Fund, a U.S. CHIPS and Science Act initiative, was launched. This is among Vietnam's efforts, in collaboration with overseas partners, to train 50,000 engineers for the semiconductor industry, including at least 5,000 with expertise in artificial intelligence.
Now, Vietnam is still in the early stages in developing its human resources for semiconductor, and international cooperation play a significant role. So what lessons can Vietnam learn from other countries in this area, and what aspects of international cooperation should be prioritized?
We collaborate with Synopsys, with other companies. We bought the tools flows from them. We bought the high-performance emulators like a ZBoo 5 and ZBoo 4. HAPS is the one-class emulators to accelerate the verification time for complex SoC like chips for AIs and for the 5G. We have experience on that. We can train the engineers, high-level engineers for that. I think that that's a good way to catch up with the world.
I think Vietnam should focus on enabling the exchange between countries for lecturers, students and trainees. That should happen during but also after the training or education period. On one side, this helps to solve the local demand on highly experienced lecturers in Vietnam, as well as the skilled workforce demand in other countries. On the other side, this exchange will lay the foundation for further international collaboration, which is essential in our semiconductor industry.
What suggestions do you have to improve the quality of Vietnam's human resources for the semiconductor industry, ensuring they meet the practical demands of the market?
So the first suggestion I would have is to strongly focus on English verbal communication. This is traditionally a weak point, especially for engineering students in Vietnam, and improving it will open up a lot of opportunities for them inside as well as outside of Vietnam. The second suggestion I would have is about connecting and leveraging the expertise of the international community, and here especially the community of overseas Vietnamese shall be mentioned. They are working in big companies, playing the key roles not only in their companies but also in the engineering community of the world, and connecting to them, inviting them to Vietnam for lectures, for sharing sessions with our students would for sure help to expand the horizon for the students, getting them more closer to the international community.
I think that first thing we should encourage best students to join the semiconductor field. So good salaries, good policies like income tax. That's a very important things. Second thing is that international collaboration that I mentioned.
Well, once again, thank you to both of our guests for being here with us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
According to the Program on Developing Human Resources for the Semiconductor Industry to 2030 with a vision to 2050, Vietnam aims to become a global leader in semiconductors and electronics with a focus on mastering, researching and development, or R&D, in these fields. To achieve this goal, the government plans to establish 3 regional centers to help universities in the 3 regions learn new technologies. In the initial period, about 45 schools will be selected to provide human resource training to meet domestic needs and align with regional and global standards. In addition, the country is fostering cooperation with tech businesses and foreign partners to improve the country's human resource training. And that does it for this edition of These Lines. Stay with us for more content, or you can always download our app VTV Go from App Store or Google Play for a lot more. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time.